All right, the final piece we've got to talk about is the risk slash mitigation plan. So for this one, I used the three categories that we were taught in class to sort of break down the risks involved, both negative and positive. And those three categories are the scope slash technical side, the schedule, and the cost or budget of the project. So starting with the scope or technical side, the negative risks involved would be something like the project not being completed. I know this is kind of unlikely, but it is something to consider. And making the unlikely more likely or realistic just for better risk planning. I tried to think of scenarios in which this would be the case. The first and probably most obvious that comes to mind is that part of the project breaks. I mean, it's woodworking. There's no guarantee that it's all going to last forever or make it. So something happens during construction or something like that, or it just falls one day in the shop when I'm not there. That could all be plausible things. But anyways, one or more birdhouses could have broken. And this is kind of a dual one. It's a negative risk from the perspective of we lost so many birdhouses, setting us back in the project and the work involved. But the positive side would be that it allows you now to redesign or revamp the layout of the projects where there are the birdhouses and how they'll sit in position around one another. Should this be the case? So there is a positive aspect to that as well. Another example of where the project just may not be able to be completed is, and the more scary one for me, was if the equipment should fail, like if my saw breaks and I'm no longer able to, cut wood. That would definitely halt the further work of the project. So that would be just not a good one. And I had a few hiccups, like some scary, I had one drill that had the bit on it snapped. But I have other drill bits, so it was able to work around those. Nothing major equipment failure wise. And moving on to the second category where we have the schedule. A negative risk involved with the schedule would be a delay in construction. And this could happen from just the nature of the construction, or there could be a delay in the approval of the park committee, which obviously is no longer a issue since they denied the admission of the project. A positive risk in terms of the schedule would be completing any phase or task involved ahead of time than it was originally planned for. Obviously, this didn't happen either because the certain features were cut out, like one of the birdhouses and the three smaller connecting bridges to make up for the time constraints with the project. So this was not the case, but it is a possible consideration in terms of positive risk. The final and third category is the cost or budget. The raw materials obviously costed the most. I think I've mentioned that already. The equipment was already in my possession though, so that was free. So that was a nice positive aspect to the budget or cost involved with the project. In terms of negative risk, it would be possible, even though it's not feasible, to not get the funds to actually pay for the project. Again, this isn't really the case, but it's still something to be considered that could happen on certain projects, maybe larger scale birdhouses or real houses, something more industrial or costly like that. And then it's the same case with the park fee. Would have ended up being an incurred cost should they charge me one, should they allow the project, but neither of those things happen, so it is no longer a worry of mine. And then in terms of positive risk, there was the potential for part of the project to be donated, any resources that went into making it, either by Lowe's if they wanted to help and just get their name out there, or the park itself. And this also did not occur. I did not get any donations, but again, it's a potential positive risk involved with the project. Oh, also, you know what? Let me go ahead and show you a more detailed view. Again, sorry for the lacking in quality visual aids, but I'm going to do my best to show you a better view of the birdhouses that you saw at the beginning. So here's the big house, the rope bridge, there's the medium or the small house in the middle, and the medium house over here. Right there. Okay, so, and then these are the connecting features. Well, the connecting feature is the bridge itself. The additional features that I needed to get were things like the handles here and the hinges, because you need a way to open and clean out the birdhouses. So I did like a little back drawer for the medium house on that one. It's also the only sponsored one. I use part of Lowe's sticks. It's just a little thing from Lowe's that talks about how they're good. So I thought that was funny. The small house also needed one of those. I gave it just a back door on the back end of it. Right here to open up. Sorry, it's hard to do this one-handed. Let me set this down real quick so I can just show all the stuff. Yep, nice little birdhouse. Probably needs a little more sanding, but it'll be okay. And then the big house, and this one's definitely my personal favorite. It's got a unique opener on bottom. I did a stick with some ropes attached to it. You can kind of see those underneath the bridge, and then it opens up from the bottom there so that it's cleanable, which is very nice. I'm not going to pull too hard on it and show it all the way up because it's got a bridge and another birdhouse that I don't want to break on the other side. And here's the back side of the big house. Pretty plain, but definitely could fit a hawk or something like that. Well, thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed the presentation. In conclusion, a lot of different things worked out exactly as planned, and certain things worked out not as planned. You know, learn some things like you need to be able to clean the birdhouse. I didn't know that. It's actually a law or a regulation for the city or state in the area. Oh yeah, and let me give you a better view of the bridge as well. Yeah, it was made from a recycled broom, so ended up not incurring costs as well, but it's twine and just sort of tied together like that. Nice little bridge. I think the squirrels and birds should enjoy that a great deal. But yes, thank you again for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the presentation overall. And yes, just thank you for listening.